that maybe before COVID, like I was not even aware. Sometimes people tell me about things that happened or did, and I was like, I was not even aware at that. I was not present in my body at that time because a lot of women from my age or even like older than me dissociate, due to like a lot of like trauma or like a lot of challenge they experienced in their childhood. So I think that's the prime time for women to start, yeah, freeing themselves. And now there's even more tools and it's growing, the personal growth space and women's advocate and movements are growing. So I think that's definitely the best time to start getting into that.
Hello, my Fearless Band. My name is Lorena, and I am your Fearless Authenticity Coach. And you are watching the Fearless Podcast. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking the time for you to heal, to get better, to realize that you are not alone, to get empowered and inspired by our amazing guests. And today we have such a fantastic human being. Her name is Sarah Martinez, and she's a holistic business coach. And her story is just so inspiring that I cannot wait for you to hear this story because she will give you all the tools that you need to shine yourself. So, without further ado, welcome to the show, Sarah Martinez. Hi,
Thank-
Sarah.
Hi, Lorena. Thank you. Thank you for this sweet introduction.
Of course. Well, you are a very sweet person. I'm lucky enough to know Sarah since the beginnings because we were in the same cohort together when we became a life coach. But Sarah wasn't always a life coach, and she's going to tell you a little bit about that. But when she told me that she was a holistic business coach, and I've never heard that before, I was curious, and I still am. So, can you tell me and the audience a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, so yes, so I'm a holistic business coach, and I know it's a very rare title. I came across this title recently after doing some soul searching and figuring out how I could blend my practices and what I was already doing. So I basically work with women entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs to help them and align their personal and professional goals. So I focus on integrating mindfulness, self-leadership, and positive psychology into business strategy so they can build not just a successful business, but fulfilling lives. And
Mhm.
it's about overcoming challenges like imposter syndrome, building confidence, and creating a business that supports the lifestyle they truly want. So I'm here to bridge the gap between their life and their business goals, basically.
Yes, well, that's beautiful. And it's so important because when we think about succeeding in business, we think about the things that we have to do. But who do you have to be and how do you have to feel to be successful? Because, every area of your life will affect any other area of your life. So, sometimes you need to take care of your personal life to flourish into the business side.
Exactly.
Thank you for explaining that to us.
Mhm.
But that was not, you were not a coach for a very long time. I heard that you used to work in corporate before.
Yes. For over a decade, I worked in startups and corporate. Yeah. Yeah.
And how was that like?
Well, I think that working in corporate was a great learning experience. I spent like over a decade in sales, operations, and leadership roles, leading teams. And it was nice. Well, it was rewarding in some ways. I was happy. But when I started my personal growth journey, I always felt like something was missing there. And the constant pressure and the lack of personal alignment and also the grind, started kind of like to wear me down. So, so that's how I felt towards the end.
Hmm. And can you remember a time where you were like, okay, that's it, like a specific time that something happened that you were like, I need to take a different route?
Yeah, yeah. I remember clearly the moment I realized my job was no longer fulfilling. It was when I got laid off from a position that I had been striving towards, um, only to have a promotion rescinded at the last minute and many hiccups and challenges. And I think that that experience, it's not, I think, I know that experience shook me, but it also gave me a chance to reflect on what I truly wanted. And I realized that I had been chasing a career path that didn't align with my deeper value. And I was already been coached by that time, it was in 2021. And so I had this seed planted that I wanted more, and that coaching was probably the solution to that. When I saw what it was doing to me, I wanted to share this with other women, and I think I wanted more than just titles and corporate success. So I wanted to make a real impact, and especially for women like me who were like feeling stuck or lost in their careers. So that's what I think inspired me to become like a life coach. I knew that my experiences navigating the corporate world and combined with my passion for helping others could allow me to support women in finding their own path and to fulfillment and success. And whether, it meant building like a business or gaining confidence in their next step. So in 2022, I became a certified Shetty coach, and I haven't looked back since then.
Well, lucky for us.
Yeah.
Lucky for us. So let me ask you something. Um, when this happened, like I'm sure that, okay, you were like, I think I'm going to do this, but how did it impact you emotionally, like being laid off?
Hmm.
And how did you deal with that?
It wasn't easy, but through my journey, I learned and leaned on mindfulness practices and my personal growth work to stay grounded. And having a clear vision of what I wanted to create also helped. So I allowed myself to feel the emotions, for sure. I processed them, but I kept moving forward, knowing that each step was leading me towards like something more aligned. Like in a
Mhm.
week, I decided on what school and what path I wanted to do and interviewed like many schools. So I had my eyes on the prize.
Yes, that's fantastic. But I'm sure it wasn't easy, which we're going to keep talking about that. But I feel like there is so many women that they're stuck in their job, that they're doing something because a while ago it felt like your parents want you to do that, or it made sense like number wise you were making money, but like you keep going and you are like stuck, you're unfulfilled, like it affects everything. And it's important to give the message that it's okay to change your mind.
Yeah.
It's good because a lot of times it's like, am I quitting? Is this too hard? So then I'm just quitting. But no, like you need to listen to your intuition as well and be like, there's a reason why I have this itch. So when you after you quit and the transition time, I'm sure it was a little stressful. Can you share with us, like, how do you stay focused? How you stayed on point? Like, maybe some practical techniques?
Well, I didn't quit. I got laid off. So it's a
Yes,
bit,
okay.
but I would say that just like I mentioned earlier, like when I started coaching and seeing the transformation from my client, from mentoring as well, coaches, um, looking back, I would say that that's what kept me going when I was seeing the results and
Mm.
how people were feeling. So that's what really like helped me stay focused in moments of doubt. And Yeah, like, for me, it was not quitting. It was like really like the decision was made for me. I was laid off. It was a shock. But looking back, for me, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. The laid off gave me that push that I needed to finally pursue what truly aligned with my purpose, coaching and empowering other women. So there were definitely moment of doubts throughout this process, especially stepping into the unknown, but I stayed grounded by reminding myself that this was an opportunity to create something more fulfilling. And every time that I see the impact I'm making in my client's life, it just reaffirms that I'm on the right path.
Yeah. Yes, you just feel it, right? When you're doing the right thing, it's just, there's not like a maybe, it's just like a hell yeah, that's what I need to be doing. And yes, I know that you quit, but do you also find that there's women that they don't have, because almost that you got laid off, that was a gift, because then you didn't have an option, right, to
Mm.
take a different
Yeah.
route. But what do you think about women that they work in corporate and they're uncomfortable, but they're stressed about leaving their job or feeling like they're quitting? Uh, what will you say to those women?
Well, I would say that start exploring what truly aligns with your values. If your company doesn't align with your values, then it's time to reassess. So, and to try to take small steps towards that vision, and don't be afraid to like invest in yourself and in your personal growth. Um, and that trust that the discomfort of change is temporary. It is temporary, really. But the reward of living in alignment is lasting. And the other advice I would give them is like to give me a call. I can help you with that.
Exactly. So tell me a little bit, like when clients come to you for your holistic business coaching, um, what do your clients look like? What is the client? What are they looking to improve? And kind of like a little bit of how you guide them to the right path for them.
Yeah, so it's a good question. So like I would say that my clients, they look like they're usually women between 30 to 40-ish. And they most of the time feel stuck because they either had already seen a coach in like a mindset coach, and then they also invested like in a business, maybe program, but they're never really um, were able to find a connection in between. So they worked a little bit on something and they worked on a little bit on something else, but they never really made the connection in between because it was different programs. And most of them would have low self-esteem, very much people pleasing, um, and lack of confidence, um, and even sometimes not like really love themselves. And they feel overwhelmed or are have difficulties take actions towards their business because they have mental blocks that they haven't been able to work on. So I would say that that's pretty much how they look. And how I help them, I would say that I think we look from, the root cause first. So we usually start with the life. So we'll look at the limiting beliefs, the how they grow up, their inner child, and everything that built them up as a human being. And then from there, when we have removed those mindset blocks and limiting beliefs and they gain awareness on some situation, then we move into the mentoring part and the business part, where we're trying to look into the foundation of their business, which is their vision, their mission statement, deciding on their niche, on their offer, um, what lead magnet they could bring, who they can work with, their target audience. And sometimes it's also transitioning from like a corporate setting. So how to transition it slowly and start doing small steps to get to either launching a side hustle or exploring other possibilities outside of their work.
Yeah, I feel like, thank you for explaining that. I feel like a life coach is just so, is priceless in times like that. Because, we might have a bunch of ideas, we might be scared, but I feel like a life coach kind of like set you up in a way that you start believing in yourself. Because, we don't really tell people what to do, but just like letting them know, okay, see, you knew that. And the trick is little baby steps. I mean, I realize that every time that I have to do something that's hard or stressful, I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to take like a tiny little step. Even if it's like, okay, so let's say that I want to start working out. The first thing I'm going to do one day is just put my shoes on. And then, you take it from there because it's a lot easier when we build upon that.
Yeah.
So you were talking also before about like the limiting beliefs that they carry from before.
Mhm.
Can you share with us like if you ever had to confront limiting beliefs from when you were little?
From when I was little, I think that, let me think. Um, I think that it would have been managing imposter syndrome.
Mhm,
I think I had to constantly remind myself that I was capable and that my experience were valuable. So I think that would have been like one of my limiting beliefs, or that I'm not good enough, for this, or why would I make it? Why especially me? I'm just average. So I think that would have been a limiting belief that I had from when I was little. And something that I had to stop seeing was the layoff as a setback and start viewing it as a new beginning, And I also had like to let it go of the belief that my worth was tied to a corporate title or a paycheck. And I believe that committing to coaching meant embracing the fact that success looks different for everyone and that my journey could be fluid and since then, like, I've completely transformed my life, and by creating like a career that allows me to live in alignment with my values, have more freedom, and make a real difference in others women's lives. So I'm proud to say that I have overcome these limiting beliefs.
yes, which I'm sure it took a lot of work. It's not easy facing that and accepting it, and that's why we need a coach sometimes, because sometimes we hold things in our subconscious that there's no way for us to see it unless, like, we do a lot of introspections and self-reflection, and coaches with their questions, they have that, they have that power, and that's just so beautiful. And I loved it that you said you were talking about success and what is how it's different from everyone, for everyone. What does success means to you, like now?
I think that success means to me deciding on my own terms, having the freedom in my schedule, being able to be present for my daughter if I need to, um, transforming lives. This defined my success as well. I'm helping others, I'm serving, um, I'm making an impact. So I would say that that's how I now define success.
Yes, yes. And how do you used to define it before? Maybe when you just started in your corporate job.
Well, for me, like, success used to be about titles and financial milestone.
Mhm.
So now it's more about living in alignment and supporting others on their journey. So I would say that's the big difference.
Yes. Yes, that's beautiful. It's so amazing how we go to through so many different stages and chapters in our life and being mindful of our feelings. And like you said, are your values aligned with what you're doing? You know, because when we have that break between, you know, what we our values, our beliefs, and our actions, then it's disconfabulated, right? It's almost like you're not taking control of your whole life. And I believe that we all can find something that's rewarding, and then also is going to pay the bills, and we're going to be able to fulfill our process. I think that we all have a special gift. It's about, you know, being a little fearless and
Mhm.
taking a leap of faith sometimes. And sometimes what it takes is like, okay, I know I need to keep this corporate job for a little bit just so I can support my learning into something else. Because, you know, of course, is you're a single mom and you need to keep your job. So, but how can you still work in your passion while you're doing your job? And then think about the job as something to support that. And then, you know, when you're ready, you can make that transition.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And what do you think it was like the biggest lesson that you learned from the challenge of being laid off from your job?
Hmm. That's a good question. I'll have to think a little. Um, hmm. From from that challenge, one lesson that I learned is that don't invest more than you should do in companies. Obviously, be a good employee, be honest, transparent, and do your job. But going above and beyond, if it doesn't bring you anything, then stop doing it. Because at the end of the day, obviously not companies are all like that, but a lot of the corporates and companies, um, they don't unfortunately think of you as an employee. You're just like a member, you know. You're sometimes they don't see, especially for women, I feel like the workforce is not aligned for like a woman life. And so I was talking with my client earlier, and she was re-entering the workforce after a long mat leave, and they were like 9 a.m. already messaging her about this, that, putting pressure when she just handled a meltdown from her 1 year old. And she was telling me it's just not aligned. I didn't know what to do. Just, I just wanted to leave at that time. And so sometimes they don't take this in considerations. And so for me, everyone is replaceable. I learned that the hard way. I always thought that, oh, I was the best, the top performer. They would never replace me. But it happened multiple times. So, sorry. So, for me, to remind yourself that everyone is replaceable. And the only person you should invest in is yourself, not a company, not a corporate, not anything. You should be doing a good job for sure, be a decent human being, but you should think of yourself and your own interest first, not the your company. Because at the end of the day, even though you spend most of your time in your company, you still have a family, you still are a human being, you still have your own need. And the moment that this company stops for any reason, you know, there was COVID, many people get laid off, any reason, you don't exist anymore for that company. So make sure you value yourself, because the company doesn't necessarily will value you as much as you would like to.
Yes. You have to take care of yourself first. Such a cliche, but it's true.
Yeah.
And do you have any idea why, as women, sometimes we give away our power for people to, you know, we overwork, we do this and that because, you know, somebody's telling us, even that we know that's not what we're supposed to do, even that we know that we deserve to be, you know, to have a different position in the company. Why is it that sometimes we just give away our power?
Well, the first answer that comes to my mind is societal expectations. You know, women have been raised in a certain way that it's pretty new in the society that women should have the same salary as a man, and that they can be able to work and do all, and that they're supposed to share the mental load and the task, at the house. And so it's difficult if you have these mentalities that were passed on generation after generation to break the cycle. And so some women, like we call them the black sheeps, like they start breaking the cycles. And so, but before that, but it's difficult to remove that mindset when it's years and years of having this thinking, of like, I should be doing it all. I should be working. I should be handling the house. I should be do this, taking the kids and that and this. So it takes a reprogramming of your mindset, of your mind, because as women, we have been conditioned. And depending on your culture as well, your country, you have been conditioned in a certain way. So to become a people pleaser, give them a hug, say hi, for saying like kids to like give people a hug. Oh, they just give you a gift, give them a hug. No, like they can just say thank you. Obviously, you need to raise your children to be polite, but by forcing them to give someone affection, it's like you're kind of like breaking their consent, or like teaching them to not necessarily have consent. So you're making people pleasers by doing that. These
Yes.
small actions. So I think that's the reason.
Yes, I agree with that. Like society is like we're born and we get this book with all these rules, and who knows the people that decide these rules to be rules? It's just someone just like you and I. So good for you, Sarah, to be a black sheep and start like paving the way for
Yeah.
everyone else. But now is the time. Do you feel like that as well? That do you feel like a movement towards that, to empowering, to focusing also, like you said, like a holistic, everything is holistic, it's what you do connected with what you feel, with what you dream. Do you feel like this is a good time to start like speaking our minds so we can inspire a younger generation to be free and not feeling that they have to overwork to be appreciated or loved, and they have to just say yes to everything?
Definitely. Yes, I think that's the best time. It's like a prime time, especially after COVID. People are waking up to
Yeah.
themselves. Personally, I can say that maybe before COVID, like I was not even aware. Sometimes people tell me about things that happened or did, and I was like, I was not even aware at that. I was not present in my body at that time because a lot of women from my age or even like older than me dissociate, due to like a lot of like trauma or like a lot of challenge they experienced in their childhood. So I think that's the prime time for women to start, yeah, freeing themselves. And now there's even more tools and it's growing, the personal growth space and women's advocate and movements are growing. So I think that's definitely the best time to start getting into that. Yeah.
Yes, yes, to pave the way to for our kids to be like that. Like I have children too, and I'm like, be aware of what you're doing. Is this what you want to do? You can do anything. You can have dreams, and if you had the dream, if you thought about it, it's because it's possible. Just give it a try and see what happened. Did you, when you were little, did you see yourself in a career that was of service?
Yes. It's funny because I had the same question in another podcast,
Mm.
and I didn't connect the dot, but then I connected the dot after. But yes, I wanted to become a journalist when I was little.
Yeah, so that goes together, right? Speaking the truth.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Connecting with
yes,
people, speaking the truth, and yeah, like giving people a voice as well.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, is there any other advice that we didn't talk about yet that you can give to women besides hiring you as a coach, which, I think I need you as well. But um, certain things to look for, or like how to be aware, or the signs that something needs to change.
So, what I can say would be you are capable of creating a life and business that lights you up. Trust yourself, trust your guts, take actions. Without action, nothing happens. Don't stay in your comfort zone because nothing happens in your comfort zone. Everything happens outside of your comfort zone, though. It's scary. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be super pretty at the beginning, but just don't be afraid. And and please do not hesitate to ask for support along the way.
I know we are not alone, right? Like we are always so scared to ask him for help. But I find that when people ask me for help, I feel proud of that. Like I'm happy, if I can help, like why not? And if you don't ask for help, you don't know if people can help you or not. But most of the time, people that can help you will be so happy to do so because I feel like service is just the biggest antidepressant. When you feel like you're down or feel sorry for yourself, just go and do something nice for someone else and put a smile in someone's face, and then just it changed the whole day, and you feel like you're like, wow, how powerful is that, right?
Yeah,
How powerful
exactly.
is that? So of course it's not easy like making such transition, but when you were already in coaching, and of course you're happy, what were your biggest challenges at the beginning?
Hmm. So I would say that, and I think I just mentioned a little bit earlier, but I would say that it was like managing imposter syndrome.
Managing efforts.
Yeah, that I was legit in what I was doing, that was not a fraud. And I think that how I managed it was through like regular self-reflection and mindset work, with coaches and or therapists. And I think it helped me push through those doubts. Um, so yeah, I would say that that was like one of like the most challenging parts. Yeah.
Yes, I think that for me, something that really will put me in a bad space was when I was comparing myself with others,
Mm,
because everyone has a different journey, right? And sometimes I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we start together with this person, and this person is doing this and that, and I'm just doing. But then, you start thinking, do I really want to do what that person is doing? No. We all have our thing, right? So, but it takes a while not to be influenced and to feel like you're behind, that everyone's better than you when you're exposed to everyone. What most other coaches are doing, because it's a beautiful community of coaches and we all share everything and it's amazing. But sometimes a thing can happen until you realize there's enough for everyone. You are unique, you're special. Whatever you have to do in the world is just for you.
yeah.
It's you. People is going to come to you because it's you click with their energy. It's just something about that that's beautiful. And when you said about some of the things that you go for, I know that you also do yoga. What other mindful practice you have that keeps you grounded?
Yeah, I would say that yes, first of all, yoga, and somatic practices. It became a big part of my routine. They help me stay grounded and give me the mental clarity I need to navigate challenges. Every time that I feel a little down, I would just look into have I been to any yoga classes, because obviously I can practice by myself, but it's a bit different when you go to like a setup with a group and like a different teacher that has their own style and can bring you somewhere else, and you keep growing and learning. So I think that this would be part of like my usual practice. And another thing is like regular reflections. You know, sometimes when I feel I have a lot of like build up energy or overthinking, I would start journaling, and practice gratitude as well. I have a gratitude journal. I'm not necessarily super consistent with that because now I'm able to feel the gratitude on a day-to-day basis, but sometimes I try to like do it every day or every 2 days. And for me, these are like key practices. And I didn't mention it, but obviously meditation keeps me grounded, to start my day, to finish my day as well. So these are like the practice and ritual that I use.
Yeah, I love those rituals. I love yoga as well, and I meditate every day, and you can see it on my mood when I skip my meditation. It's just, just finding your purpose, being in alignment. I mean, it's not that we're going to be happy all the time, but there is a way to be balanced and to be joyful, And but it's not easy. You really have to do the work. You have to
Mhm.
do the work. You have to ask for help. You need to have your mindful practices. For me, meditation is amazing as well, and just I do, but I'm sure you do as well. How you recommend that to your clients, and sometimes like doing little guided meditations, even like 2 minutes, is enough to be grounded, to relax, and to connect with your true self. Anything else that you think that will be valuable for our audience to know? Any little secret or any story that you would like to share?
Um, I think that something that I could add is like you don't have to choose between success and fulfillment. Like they can coexist, and maybe give yourself a permission to pursue both, and know that it's possible. You know, it's possible to create a life and business that reflects your true self.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Before we leave, because I didn't ask you about that, I'm always curious because this has been a struggle at times for me too. It's like when you go through such a change, leaving a job to another one and learning something new, and you spend a lot of time. How important is to have the support of your peers and your family? And do you find that difficult?
If I find it difficult from like from my family and like the to support me in that journey or like to ask for help.
Yes. Did you find that that was an issue for you, or it was not, and why it's important?
No, I think that I'm sorry. I think that for me it was important, but it doesn't have to be, you know. Obviously, when I'm talking family, like I'm thinking more like of extended family, but like obviously I need to have the support of my close family, like my husband first. It's very important, yes, for sure. If he's not supporting what I'm doing, then it's going to be very challenging to be working on that. But so yes, for me it's important, but sometimes, you're gonna have people like like I call them like the naysayer, or you know, like Debbie Downer, or like that will don't understand and will say that you're crazy or you're either crazy. And if you're really passionate about it and you don't necessarily need like support from your family. You just need to make sure that the idea that you have is something that will interest other people. And so if you do your research and you gather your data or like talk to people in your circles or outside of your circle, maybe, because if your circle is maybe too judgmental or not enough open-minded, then look further. And you just need one person to tell you that it's a great idea, and then you can start going.
Yes, yes. And it's like you said, you know, if it feels right, if you have proved that it's something that could work, or even no, if you just feel like you need to fulfill this dream, something say to you, it feels like it's your purpose. um, you need to keep fighting. Like at the beginning, when I started being a coach, because I was a wife and a mom for like 16 years, and everybody was like, "What's happening? Why you're not like 100% just a mom?" because I was miserable inside because I needed to fulfill my purpose. So at the beginning, nobody was happy. I mean, my husband was very upset and making it really hard for me, but I was just, this feels right for me. And I did it anyway. And I was just like, trust me, it's going to be fine. Just stick around with me for a little bit. And now everyone's so happy. Everybody's taking my advice. Everyone is like, so don't get discouraged for that. Just if you really believe in something, keep doing it.
That's
So
true.
now we are approaching the end. So I had a couple of questions for you before we leave, like some rapid fire questions. And one is like, if you could sum up your journey in one word, what would that word be?
Mm, I think it would be transformative.
Transformative.
Hmm.
Yes. Wow. I
Yeah.
like that. I like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't understand exactly what life coaching is because it gets confused with therapy, mentoring. Like, how can you debunk the myth of life coaching? How can you say it as it is, what life coaching is?
Well, I would say that for me, life coaching is about moving forwards. It doesn't mean that we don't look into your past. We do. We trying to like not only look at the symptoms, we also trying to look at the root cause. So we'll spend a little bit some time to trying to understand your story, but we won't spend that much time in there. And it's about taking actions, having an accountability partner, and helping you move forwards towards your goals. And if you don't have goals, that is completely fine because you can create them and set them with a coach. So for me, that's what a life coach is. Mostly, we're not there to give you advices, but more to guide you and to help you like find the answer within you. And why? Because if we give you all the answer, then it will be easy and maybe not lasting. But if you find them in yourself, then the change will be lasting. So that's how I would like talk about a life coach.
Yeah, that's a beautiful answer. That's perfect, and it's so true. And it's just so powerful because with a life coach, you you realize that you have the power. So then we can work one challenge with our life coach, but if a life coach tells you if somebody tells you what to do, then you have another challenge and you don't know how to handle that. But when you learn and you realize that you have the power to overcome all these obstacles, then it's very empowering.
Yeah. And
uh,
something that I
yeah,
wanted to add to
yeah.
that is that there's this, limiting belief around, and it's especially for coaches, that you need to know it all to become a coach. And for me, it it's not. You don't have to. Like you don't need to have it all figured out to become a coach. I think that growth happens on both sides of the coaching relationship. And so you learn and grow from your clients.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. And I think it's important not just for coaches, it's for potential clients to know that you are vulnerable to, that like you are growing. And most of the time the things that we feel very strongly about and that we want to help people with, there are things that or we already went through or that we're still healing from that. Because the
Mhm.
healing journey is like you don't graduate. I'm like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
healed. It's like
I love that. Yeah,
it's
you don't.
always something for us to work towards. And that's it, Sarah. This was amazing. I learned so much from you, and I'm so happy that you were here. And I'm sure so many people learned so much from you. And for those who would like to continue to get to know you, or they would like to follow you or hire you, can you please tell us where we can find you?
Of course. And thank you. Thank you for having me. It was a really nice conversation. You can check out my website at sarahmartinezcoaching.com, or my Instagram, which is the Holistic Business Coach. And other than that, well, you can just email me at info@sarahmartinezcoaching.com if you have any further questions.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being here, and all of you guys, thank you for showing up. And to if you weren't here, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you so much, and I cannot wait to see you next time in our next episode of our podcast, our Fearless Women podcast. Thank you so much, and thank you, Sarah, and we see you later.
Thank you.